Only 50 years ago, gaming meant blasting pixelated aliens in Space Invaders. Now, 3.2 billion players worldwide are exploring its breathtaking worlds. Gaming is not some nerdy hobby anymore. It's a $187 billion powerhouse that makes Hollywood look like a side quest. Sure, there were disasters, E.T., but today we're here to celebrate the masterpieces that claimed Game of the Year and changed gaming forever.
Maybe when your mother's finished mourning your father, I'll keep her in black on your behalf.
This is the evolution of the Game of the Year winners. Early gaming was simple but full of potential. Then someone asked, movies have Oscars, music has Grammys, where's the trophy for games? And just like that, in the late 70s, the first Game of the Year awards began, starting with magazines and growing into massive global events. But hold your applause, there are more Game of the Year titles out there than Skyrim has re-releases. Today, we're skipping the side quests and going straight for the main story. The ultimate games crowned by the most respected institutions. Grab your controller, press start, and let's speed run through gaming history. In 1979, Space Invaders crash-landed and made history, kickstarting the golden age of arcade gaming like a pixelated revolution. With $30 billion in earnings adjusted for today, it still holds the crown as the highest-grossing game ever. For comparison, Avatar, the highest-grossing movie, only made $4.3 billion. The game was so wildly popular that Japan reportedly faced a 100 yen coin shortage. Myth or not, there is no denying that a lot of pocket money was spent obliterating rows of pixelated aliens. Is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it is Superman grabbing Game of the Year for home consoles in 1980. Meanwhile, Asteroids took the crown for the best arcade game. Superman on the Atari 2600 helped launch a whole new era for home gaming. Next up, a true gaming legend, Pac-Man. With over $15 billion in revenue and 43 million units sold, it is no surprise it won Game of the Year in 1981. After all, it was the first game to introduce power-ups. Originally named Puck-Man, the title was changed to Pac-Man to avoid creative vandalism. Let's just say swapping the P for an F would turn it into a whole different game. Toru Iwatani, the creator of Pac-Man, aimed to attract female players by using cute, colorful characters and making the game about eating. His idea? Women like food, right? Bold move, Toru. Fun fact, Pac-Man's iconic design was inspired by a pizza missing a slice. And the ghosts? They have secret names revealing their strategy. Shadow, Blinky, stalks Pac-Man. Speedy, Pinky, is the speed demon. Bashful, Inky, uses big brain tactics for his traps. Pokey, Clyde, cannot decide if he is in it to chase or escape. Pole Position did not just succeed, it pioneered the racing game genre. The Arcade Awards praised its beautiful graphics and breathtaking scenery, if by breathtaking you mean toddler art and loud sound effects that scream at you. But in 1983, it was pure genius. The 1984 winner needs no introduction, unless you've been living under a rock the size of the Death Star. Atari's game pushed boundaries with its 3D vector graphics. It took 3 legends, 5 days, 2 hours, and 26 minutes to score over 1 billion points and set a world record. That is not just dedication, that is Jedi-level focus. In 1982, the video game market was living the dream, earning more money in the US than pop music and Hollywood combined. Then came the 1983 video game crash, turning that dream into a full-blown nightmare. Shelves overflowed with terrible games, and revenues nosedived from $3.2 billion to $100 million. A brutal 97% freefall. Entire companies collapsed, including Electronic Games, the creators of the Arcade Awards. But amidst the chaos, the Golden Joystick Awards were born in 1983, and today it still holds the crown as the longest-running video game awards ceremony. Fun fact, E.T. wasn't just a failure, it nuked the video game industry. Many point to it as a key player in the 1983 crash, and it's one of the biggest disasters in gaming history. Sales were so terrible that Atari was buried in unsold cartridges. Their solution? Bury 700,000 copies in the desert, cover it with concrete, and pray the world would forget. Spoiler alert, history didn't forget, and E.T. still holds the title of the worst game ever made. The Way of the Exploding Fist wasn't your average fighting game. It had a bonus round where you could knock out a bull with a single strike. The inspiration? Masoyama, a karate master so hardcore, he fought bulls barehanded. But wait, it gets crazier. He allegedly killed 3 bulls instantly with 1 strike, earning the nickname God Hand. Next up, Gauntlet, a co-op dungeon crawler inspired by Dungeons & Dragons. The arcade hit eventually found a home on the NES. Speaking of the NES, did you know it's credited with saving the gaming industry? Nintendo focused on quality over quantity, and with hits like Super Mario Bros., the NES kickstarted a whole new era of gaming. But shockingly, despite being one of the greatest games of all time, Super Mario Bros. Did not win at the Golden Joystick Awards. Tough luck, Mario. Better luck next pipe. Games leveled up big time in the 90s, spawning iconic franchises like Mega Man. The funny part? The first Mega Man won Game of the Year, even though most critics did not just dislike it, they hated it, calling it one of the worst games ever made. It's like a one-star disaster of a movie taking home an Oscar while critics sit in disbelief thinking, what the hell just happened? From one of the worst games of all time to one of the best, enter Sonic the Hedgehog. Released for the Sega Genesis, this blue blur kicked off a franchise so big, it is still running strong today. Sega's president, Hayao Nakayama, wanted a mascot as iconic as Mickey Mouse to rival Nintendo's Mario. Sonic did not just meet expectations, he smashed them, selling 24 million copies and leaving The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past, and Super Mario Bros. 3 eating his dust. He probably dashed past with a smirk, saying, "Take that, plumbers and pointy-eared adventurers. Try keeping up next time." The following year, Street Fighter II claimed the title, and let's be real, it wasn't even close. It revolutionized fighting games with a diverse cast of characters, unique fighting styles, and combos that made battles way more exciting. Street Fighter II was more than a hit, it was a knockout. With over $10 billion in revenue, it didn't just beat the competition, it KO'd them straight out of the arcade hall. Just when fighting games seemed to peak, Mortal Kombat smashed into 1993 and claimed the win like it was ripping out a spine. Its fatalities were so brutal, kids probably learned more anatomy from the game than they did in school.
Johnny Cage wins. Fatality.
The controversy? So intense, it led to the creation of the ESRB rating system. It became one of America's highest-grossing arcade games, even crushing Jurassic Park's $300 million the same year. Dinosaurs might roar, but fatalities scream louder.
Johnny Cage wins. Flawless victory.
From 1994 to 1996, Nintendo's platformers dominated the gaming world. Donkey Kong Country swung onto the SNES with pre-rendered 3D graphics that blew everyone away. Then, its sequel grabbed another Game of the Year win, back-to-back. Then Super Mario 64 stomped onto the scene, flattening the competition like a Goomba. Released on the Nintendo 64, Mario did not just jump into 3D, he triple jumped, backflipped, and wall kicked into gaming history. Its 3D worlds and revolutionary camera controls set the gold standard for platformers. How legendary is it? Someone paid over $1.5 million for a pristine copy, the highest price ever for a video game. Even Mario shouted,
Mamma mia!
7107.
7107. Congratulations.
Fun fact, Shigeru Miyamoto isn't just a game designer, he's the architect of our childhoods. He gave us Donkey Kong, Mario, Zelda, and even shaped Pokemon Red and Blue. Collectively, his legendary franchises have sold over 1 billion copies. If gaming had a Mount Rushmore, Miyamoto would be all four faces. In 1997, if your friend owned a PlayStation, you probably caught them lost in Final Fantasy VII. Originally planned for Nintendo's SNES, it jumped to Sony's PlayStation to take advantage of CD power, a move that reshaped gaming and gave Sony a huge boost in the console wars. The outcome? A legendary RPG with stunning 3D graphics, cinematic cutscenes, and a story that's still celebrated. With over 10 million copies sold and its own movie, Final Fantasy VII didn't just break new ground, it built an entire legacy. GoldenEye 007 took the crown that year, changing first-person shooters with its stealth gameplay, smart level designs, and Bond-style action. Developer Steve Ellis secretly added the multiplayer mode without Nintendo's approval, and it became legendary. Despite using only 3.3% of the movie's budget, the game made a whopping $250 million. If Bond says,
"My name's Bond. James Bond."
This game says, the name's Profit. All profit. 1998 wasn't just GoldenEye 007's year, it was one of the greatest years in gaming history. We're talking Banjo-Kazooie, Half-Life, Resident Evil 2.
What could have done this?
Metal Gear Solid. And another legend that would win Game of the Year the next year. It was only a matter of time, and an ocarina before The Legend of Zelda claimed the win. Ocarina of Time raised the bar for 3D adventure games with its lock-on targeting system and advanced camera controls. Koji Kondo's music added magic, perfectly matching each location's atmosphere. With 7.6 million copies sold and an all-time record 99 Metacritic score, this game became a legend. Even 25 years later, many still call it the greatest game of all time. While researching this evolution, one question kept looping in my mind, like the Mario Brothers theme song. Why do so many legendary games come from Japan? Before the 2000s, most Game of the Year winners could have proudly stamped Made in Japan on the cover. Japan did not just embrace video games, they revolutionized them. Space Invaders and Pac-Man triggered global addictions, and they then handed us the NES. Genesis and PlayStation like, here's your new religion, enjoy. Their secret? A fierce rivalry between Nintendo, Sega, and Sony. Basically a real-life Smash Brothers brawl of innovation. Combine that with a booming arcade scene and a love for creativity, and Japan was not just playing the game, they were writing the rules. In the 2000s, gaming leveled up with handheld legends like the Game Boy. Pokemon Yellow took the crown as Handheld Game of the Year. Meanwhile, on PC, Deus Ex redefined storytelling with player choices, paving the way for modern masterpieces like The Witcher 3 and Cyberpunk 2077. A year later, Gran Turismo 3 raced onto the PlayStation 2 with graphics so sharp you could cut yourself, physics that made you feel the crash, and sound design that felt like music to a racer's ears. Selling nearly 15 million copies, it became the series' bestseller. At the same time, Max Payne hit PCs with Bullet Time Mayhem, pulling slow-motion chaos straight from the Matrix. The first-person shooter era exploded with Halo Combat Evolved, which became the face of Microsoft's Xbox. They nearly called it Blam, or the Santa Machine. Thankfully, they ditched that nightmare before Master Chief had to ride a sleigh into battle. GameSpot said it best, Halo's single-player game is worth picking up an Xbox for alone. With over 6 million copies sold, it spawned a multi-billion-dollar franchise. If we're talking about FPS games that have survived the years while swimming in cash, Call of Duty deserves a salute. Launched in 2003 and inspired by HBO's Band of Brothers, it delivered an intense World War II experience. Introducing AI allies for squad-based action, the rivalry between EA's Medal of Honor and Activision's Call of Duty was so fierce, the project earned the nickname Medal of Honor Killer. Mission accomplished. The franchise's success is no secret, but strangely, the original Call of Duty is the only one to make the Game of the Year list. Honestly, Modern Warfare 2 should have 360 quickscoped its way in and dropped a tactical nuke on the competition. Then came Half-Life 2, Valve's groundbreaking FPS, and the first major game on Steam, also Valve's brainchild. Gabe Newell's mission? Redefine the FPS genre. Mission accomplished. Powered by the newly built Source engine, Half-Life 2 took 5 years and $40 million to develop, an insane budget for the time. The result? Revolutionary physics, immersive gameplay, and 39 Game of the Year awards. But even 20 years later, one question remains. Where's Half-Life 3? Come on, Gabe, we're not getting any younger. Just give us a sign. Or 3. In 2005, a legendary franchise stormed in. God of War, Kratos, the angriest Spartan ever, went full-on revenge mode against the Greek gods. And let's be honest, few things are more satisfying than Kratos unleashing his full rage mode. 2007 was an epic year for gaming. Which one won Game of the Year? Answer D. BioShock. Super Mario Galaxy almost took it, but 2008 was Mario's year. BioShock amazed gamers with its creepy underwater world. The story, visuals, and constant feeling that you might die horribly made it a masterpiece. As crazy as it sounds, wandering Rapture's maze-like halls, dodging ghosts and mutants is a lot like Pac-Man. Maybe that's why there's a Pac-Man Easter egg hidden in one of the levels. Our Italian hero finally claimed the crown with Super Mario Galaxy on the Wii. It let players perform moves with the Wii remote, while Mario gracefully ignored gravity. Millions loved it, probably wondering why a mustached plumber had a better space program than NASA. The magic got even better with a full orchestral soundtrack. With 12.8 million copies sold, Galaxy didn't just succeed, it blasted into space, did a victory lap around the sun, and never looked back. Fun fact, Mario's empire began in 1981's Donkey Kong, where he was called Jumpman because, well, he jumps. Creator Shigeru Miyamoto almost named him Mr. Video, but thankfully, Mario stuck. With over 200 games and 900 million copies sold worldwide, the Mario series is the best-selling game franchise ever. From a plumber to a billion-dollar empire, now that's inspiring.
To others who get all the fame. When your sync is in trouble, you could call us on the double. We're faster than the others, you'll be hooked on the brothers.
Next up, Batman stole the spotlight with Arkham Asylum on PS3 and Xbox 360. Packed with DC lore, it let you roam Gotham as the Dark Knight, beating up baddies like Harley Quinn and the Joker. The revolutionary free-flow combat made chaining combos feel so smooth, like Batman was running a solo fight club. Arkham Asylum was such a hit, it spawned the Arkham series and earned a Guinness World Record for most critically acclaimed superhero video game. Sorry, other superheroes, Batman just took your lunch money. In 2010, Mass Effect 2 rocked the gaming world. This action RPG brought deep storytelling, blockbuster visuals, and a voice cast big enough to crew a starship. 90 actors voicing 546 characters or 25,000 lines of dialogue. Turns out, space is very chatty. The final mission? Maximum anxiety. One wrong move and your squad mates were toast. Players replayed like their lives depended on it. The result? One of the most unforgettable finales in gaming history. Portal 2 wasn't just 2011's Game of the Year, it turned brains into pretzels. Clever puzzles, witty humor, and an innovative co-op mode raised the bar for puzzle games. It even made it into classrooms. The New York Times said a teacher using Portal 2 could be the most important science teacher those lucky students have ever had. Science agrees. A 2014 study found Portal 2 makes you better at problem solving. And then there's Skyrim. It might have missed the BAFTAs, but it hoarded the Game of the Year titles like a dragon hoards gold. A massive world, endless quests, and dragons you fight by shouting at them.
Dragonborn!
Over a decade later, it's still a favorite, because some legends never die, especially when the theme song slaps that hard. And The Elder Scrolls 6? 6 years since the teaser. Come on, Bethesda, we're ready. When Dishonored sneaked onto the scene, it gave players the freedom to sneak through missions without a scratch, or unleash total chaos. Set in the steampunk city of Dunwall, its chaos system judged every choice, shaping the world and story around you. With stealth, action, and a plague-ridden world, it was, ironically, a breath of fresh air. While Naughty Dog did not win with Uncharted's treasure-hunting adventures, it struck gold with The Last of Us. The game offered a fresh take on the zombie apocalypse genre, letting players experience the emotional journey of Joel and Ellie. With over 20 million copies sold, it even inspired an HBO series that crushed souls faster than a clicker in a dark hallway. Fun fact, in 2013, another legendary game exploded onto the gaming scene, Grand Theft Auto V. It made over $1 billion in just 3 days, proving that crime does pay, at least in the world of GTA 5. With over 200 million copies sold, it's clear players can't get enough of Los Santos mayhem.
And the Game Award.
Goes to. And the winner is.
And the winner is.
The Game Awards launched in 2014 as the Oscars for gaming. Over 100 media outlets vote for Game of the Year, while the public gets just 10% of the vote, because the internet with too much power is a recipe for disaster. Fun fact, the Game Awards started with 1.9 million viewers. By 2024, it reached 118 million, obliterating the Oscars' 19.5 million. Gamers didn't just win, they went full fatality on Hollywood.
Fatality. Homelander wins. Flawless victory.
In 2014, Dragon Age Inquisition was the first Game of the Year award, kicking off the Game Awards as Gaming's Super Bowl. With epic stories and dragon-smashing action, players shaped Thetis' fate. Next year, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt took the crown, defeating giants like Bloodborne and Fallout 4. CD Projekt Red unleashed an army of 1,500 developers to build a world overflowing with monsters, quests, and lore. Geralt's adventures were so epic, even Netflix jumped in. Toss a coin? Nope. Netflix tossed a bag of gold and said, "Welcome to the big leagues." With over 200 Game of the Year awards and 50 million copies sold, The Witcher 3 is more than a game, it is a mic drop. "2016 had a first-person shooter showdown. Doom ripped demons, Titanfall 2 stomped with mechs, and Overwatch claimed the victory.
Compassion.
Racking up 50 million copies and 1 billion in just a year. Blizzard's hero shooter stood out with bright visuals, teamwork-focused gameplay, and iconic heroes like Tracer and D.I.C.E. Fun fact, Overwatch was Blizzard's first new series in 17 years, after legends like World of Warcraft,
You shall be king.
StarCraft,
For I am the Queen of Blades.
and Diablo.
Save us.
It rose from the ashes of their canceled MMO Titan, turning failure into a cultural phenomenon. Well played, Blizzard.
2017 was stacked. Super Mario Odyssey, Horizon Zero Dawn, Persona 5, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and the Battle Royale explosion with PUBG and Fortnite. But The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild grabbed the Master Sword and cut the competition down like grass.
I think you are now ready to hear what happened 100 years ago.
It looked at old Zelda games and said, time to go full open world, total freedom. See an enemy? Fight it. See a shrine? Solve it. See a cliff? Go ahead, fall off of it. Explore Hyrule your way. Throw in awesome combat, an emotional story, and unforgettable music, and you've got a game changer. A 97 on Metacritic and 33 million copies sold. Yeah, it's a masterpiece. Fun fact, before launch, Miyamoto tested the game. Did he save Hyrule? Nope. He spent an hour climbing trees. Asked if he wanted to see anything else, he just kept climbing. Hyrule's fate? Forget it. The legend had trees to conquer. In 2018, two gaming legends were born. First, Red Dead Redemption 2. This Western masterpiece took 8 years, 2,000 developers, and $500 million to create. Rockstar delivered one of the most detailed open worlds ever, selling over 67 million copies. But despite its success, God of War took home the Game of the Year crown. The 8th title yeeted the old formula into another realm. Greek mythology? Gone. Now Kratos is a grumpy dad, battling Norse gods and fatherhood. His bond with Atreus added emotional depth while keeping the brutal combat fans loved. Kratos proves the best way to handle trauma is to punch through it, preferably while your kid watches. Fun fact, adding Atreus was risky. Devs feared Kratos might become a glorified babysitter, but it paid off. Millions loved it, me included. The only thing angrier than old Kratos? Its original creator, David Jaffe. He wants his Godslayer served with pure rage and zero heart. In 2019, Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, dragged players through 16th century Japan, kicking and screaming. Hidetaka Miyazaki, the guy who basically created the suffering but also fun genre with Dark Souls and Bloodborne, delivered another brutal masterpiece. Forget dodge rolling festivals. This time it was all about parrying like a real samurai. Combat felt fresh and painful. The story was clearer, but don't be fooled, it was still insanely hard. Players called it the hardest From Software game ever. They were not wrong. I finished it, but died twice, more like died 200 times. And smash a controller or two. In 2020, The Last of Us Part 2 claimed Game of the Year, proving lightning does strike twice. The game swapped love for pure hate so violently, Cupid shot himself. Neil Druckmann's brutal revenge story didn't just wound your soul, it left your controller begging for a hug. The narrative pushed storytelling to new heights, carving a mark on everyone who played it. Fans split in rage or praise. Some review bombed it, others cheered. But 320 Game of the Year awards don't lie. Suffering sells.
Please stop!
Fun fact, The Last of Us Part 2 cost a massive $220 million. Therapy not included. The most expensive game ever? Genshin Impact, at roughly $900 million. And then there's Star Citizen, with $750 million spent and no release date in sight. Why finish the game when you can finish wallets instead? In 2021, It Takes Two broke the mold by winning with its unique co-op multiplayer. Players became Cody and May, a couple on the brink of divorce, solving puzzles to save their marriage. With 20 million copies sold, it proved gaming is best enjoyed together, unless you both suck at puzzles. Hazelight Studios had only made one game before this. In 2025, Split Fiction, the third game from the studio, dropped and absolutely crushed it. It Takes Two scored an 88, but Split Fiction soared to 91. With another co-op masterpiece, it's ready to fight for Game of the Year 2025. Next, Elden Ring claimed Game of the Year, crushing giants like God of War Ragnarok and Horizon Forbidden West. From Software's second win in 4 years was powered by Hidetaka Miyazaki and George R.R. Martin, who created the breathtaking Land of the Shadow. The result? An open-world masterpiece with brutal combat and deep lore. With 324 Game of the Year awards, it smashed records. Whether you explored for the world, the challenge, or to die endlessly, Elden Ring delivered a journey like no other. Then came the DLC, Shadow of the Erd Tree. It was so good, it earned a Game of the Year nomination in 2024. A DLC winning? Imagine! Another game took the crown, but From Software is not done. Elden Ring Night Rain launches in 2025. Prepare to suffer again. In 2023, Baldur's Gate 3 took the gaming world by storm. Inspired by Dungeons & Dragons, this RPG delivered deep role-playing, wild freedom, and choices with consequences so crazy, it felt like your own chaotic tabletop session. It made history by winning Game of the Year at all 5 major award shows. With a 96 on Metacritic and 10 million copies sold, it was a massive success. Some players even claimed it ruined gaming because nothing else came close. My review, 29 hours in, still stuck in character creation, 10 of 10. And finally, 2024's winner is Astrobot. The PlayStation finally found some Nintendo magic. Mario, time to upgrade that toolkit. Black Myth Wukong was the favorite. And even the creator, Feng Zhi, was so sure he wrote his victory speech 2 years before. When he lost, he sighed. I feel like I came all the way here for nothing. But Astrobot danced past the competition. Inspired by Super Mario Bros., it mixed colorful worlds, playful gameplay, and a modern dose of nostalgia. A perfect way to celebrate PlayStation's 30th anniversary. Pure joy and creativity. The future of gaming is brighter than a white screen at 3 a.m. Marvel 1943, The Witcher 4, Doom, The Dark Ages, and GTA 6. Who needs sleep, right? We've covered the evolution of Nintendo, Xbox, PlayStation, and games like Sonic, Mario, Zelda, God of War, and Doom. But there are so many more evolutions to explore. We strive to make 2025 Flatlife's biggest year yet. Subscribe and tell us in the comments, what's your game of the century?